Hi, my name's Raphael Heath, the Head of Geography at the Royal High School Bath, and this is the second part of a series of screencasts explaining ways geographers can investigate crime using some GIS skills and something that's going to be useful for conducting personal investigations, particularly at sixth form level. This work is supported by the Royal Geographical Society as part of their innovative teaching grant. In the first part I talked about ways you can get data from online sources of maps. I want to talk about now how you can get your own data that you can manipulate a little bit more specifically for your investigations and give it a very much more sort of individual and personal slant. So the website I'm going to go to this time is the data.police.uk website. And a link to all these resources is provided on the ArcGIS website with the information relating to this schemes of work. So at this particular website you can actually get original data, and this is what's going to give individual investigation projects real good quality ability to analyse and look at data, and very specific individual data. So we're going to go to this tab that says data, and you've got a choice to download data from various police forces and for various time frames. So you can see here that you've got to do a little bit of work here to get the right area that you want. And if I pick my local area, Avon and Somerset Constabulary, and you can see here that you can pick data from a variety of time frames, but it gives you it only in a file per month. So if you pick a year's data, let's say, from last May to this May, I'm going to get 12 different files, which is fine, I can deal with that, or I can just take 1 month on its own. So if I take 2 months just to show you an example of this, April and May's data for 2015 for Avon and Somerset. Again, I could do several police forces, but again it would just increase the number of files I'm creating. So let's just take these two and press generate file here. So in doing this it's given me the option to download the file, so I'm going to do that straight away and then open it. Okay, so these are the two files that it's just created. It's put it into my downloaded files temporary folder. That is the May data for 2015, and this is the April data for 2015. Let's just open May data then and have a look at it. So what you'll see here, this is opened Excel spreadsheet. You can use other spreadsheet packages, and it's got a lot of data here for one particular month, May, for Avon and Somerset. It's got a crime ID number, which isn't of great relevance to us. It's got the month, which is May 2015 for all these particular records. It's got where it's reported by, that'll be Avon and Somerset for all these records, and so on. And then it's got longitude, latitude. That's going to be useful for putting it into a GIS or computer mapping program. Then it's got a little bit more detail about location, local authority name, and this one, crime type. That's going to be particularly useful to us. It tells us it's antisocial behaviour or violent crime and so on. So the main columns we really want is that crime type 1, longitude, latitude, the month, and even a Somerset perhaps, but those are the main columns we'll use. If we look down you'll see that it's got lots and lots of data here, which is what makes this type of investigation particularly suitable for high quality investigations at A-level standard or beyond. And you'll notice as I've scanned down here, it starts to have data with no location. And so if I go up a little bit further here, see where this starts. Here we go. So you can see that these longitude latitude numbers actually stop here. So it's obviously got a list of recorded crimes with no longitude latitude. If I go in that column you'll notice the data up here is blank. That in itself doesn't matter as such particularly, but I might just clean it up by getting rid of it. So I'm going to click at the beginning of where this section starts. I'm going to scan down to the bottom of it. And since we can't locate this data spatially, we're just going to get rid of it, because what we're really looking at is the spatial patterns in this data. So again, just going to the bottom of that list, a little bit far. I'm going to press my shift key down and this bottom corner which highlights all this data, and just press the delete button. That's got rid of that data there. So I've got all of May's data, the month of May, here, and I've cleaned it up a little bit by getting rid of some data that had no longitude latitude, and it doesn't matter too much if you leave that in. And I'm going to save that, so let's put it into my let's put it somewhere I can find it easily again. So you'll save this anywhere that you find easy to access. Right, put it in crime data. some example data, and I give it a name, so I'm going to call it May 2015 Avon crime data. Okay. You'll notice it's coming up as a CSV format or comma delimited format, which is fine. That's actually how it arrived to me from the police. I could change it into Excel format, so I go save as, but I actually want it in this format. So if I go here again, I'll just show you this step. Under these various formats that you can save spreadsheets in, you'll notice you've got options, so Excel workbook and so on. If it's not selected for some reason or another type of data, it's this one you want, comma CSV, comma delimited. In this case it was automatically like that anyway, so that's fine. I don't need to replace that. Right, I'll just go back. So you can see I've got the May's data there. Let's have a quick look at my files I downloaded again. You'll notice I've got April's data as well here. If I just open that. So again, I've got April's data here, and if you go down you'll notice that eventually there's some with no locations towards the bottom here, no location. So again, I could do the same thing and delete some of that data and clean that file up. I'm just going to show you that if I wanted to put, if I wanted to join these files together and put, like, several months or a year's worth of data all into my GIS package together, then I need to do a little bit of work here, just copying and pasting it together. I'll give you an example. So here I'm going to just copy and paste a few lines of this data, but of course I could copy it all, especially, as I said, once I've cleaned up some of the data, the bits at the bottom with no data in. So let's just, for example, just take a few lines of this data here. As I said, I could take all of it, or at least all of it, with locational data, and I'm going to copy it, and then this is the file I've just saved, the May 2015 Avon crime data, and go to the bottom of this spreadsheet. It's quite long, so it's quite fiddly to get to the right spot. There we go, and go to the bottom and paste. Now I'm not pasting the whole month, but I'm just showing the principle of this. So you can see that all the columns are in line. These are all the April data now. You can see it changes from 05 to 04 here, from April to May. And the principle is that I could just keep copying and have hundreds of tens of thousands of bits of data, as it were, in here. But for these purposes, I'll leave it like this for now, and just to show you the principle of doing that. So technically it's May and a bit of April in here now, but I'll leave it like this for now. I'll just resave it so it's updated, and I'm happy with keeping it as a CSV file. So that's the data itself you've now got. The next step is to put it into a GIS package. So I'm just going to minimize this screen, and I'm going to close that so we don't need it. And that's okay. So this is where you got the data from. There's several different GIS packages that you can use. The one I'm going to be talking through is the use of ArcGIS Online. Your school may have a subscription to it. You can create a free account if you want as well, or you can use it completely for free without using an account. If you use it for free without using an account like this, so it's going to www.arcgis.com, and should bring you to a screen like this, then you can make your own map. The only disadvantage with doing it this way is essentially you'll be making a map as a one-off kind of exercise. You won't be able to save it or do anything with it long term, so obviously you need to make an account to do that. It gives you the option to sign in or try ArcGIS for as a trial or as a free account and so on. Ideally, really, if your institution, your school has an account, then you should be using that one. You'll notice if you've got a free account or just opened it like this, you'll see it says modify map. So there's not a lot of controls here. If you click modify map, that's quite useful because a few extra things come up. So I could be working from this, but as I said, I wouldn't be able to save it. So I really want to show you what it's like when you've logged in. So if I had clicked sign in, it will give me the option, or I don't have to click sign in from here. I would have clicked it from this page, sign in page, and I would have signed into my account. As I say, you can create a public account, or you can do a free trial. Free trial will obviously run out for full use of ArcGIS Online, but if you're doing a project for a short period of time, you might just about be able to get away with that. But of course, after 60 days, you will lose access to it unless you pay. Or you can create a public account. The disadvantage, the advantage is you can save your work to some extent here, but the disadvantage is that the usage is a bit limited in terms of some of the functionality, so you won't be able to do some of the analysis stuff. So the real way is to either do a trial for a short period and use the full functionality I'm going to show you, or have a sign-in long-term within your organisation, such as your school. It's not very expensive for them to buy. It's about £100 plus VAT for a year subscription for the whole school. So it's something that you and your teachers can consider. Okay, so I've already signed in, so this is what it looks like for me when I've signed in. It's got bits of detail about my organisation. It's got a section here called My Content, which is a basic file manager. You'll see here it's got lots of different folders in and different maps that I've made, and galleries and so on. And it's the map page that's critical really to be using, so I'm just going to go straight to that. And as I say, I've signed in now, so you'll see it's got lots of different functionality up here. It knows who I am, and it lets me save maps as well. So we want to get this data that we've just made in the spreadsheet here into ArcGIS Online as a map. And as you know, what we've got here that's important is the longitude and latitude data. So that's the bit that's going to allow it to be recognised by this map. To get it into the map, there's a couple of ways to do it. So at the moment the map's got nothing in except what we call a base map. If I go add, I could add data. What I'm going to do is a little trick that's come in recently with ArcGIS Online. So I'm just going to find the folder that I made this save the data in. So I'm just going to go to my documents, GIS, and I put it in a folder called crime data, and it was called ArcGIS example crime data. Okay, so there's the file I've just made. I'll just make that a bit smaller to show you this effect. And what I'm going to do is literally just click on this, hold my mouse down and drag it into the map. And this is a new feature called Smart Mapping, which means it does a lot of the hard work for you. So I'll just show you how this one works to start with. So all I've done is I've dragged this file into the map and then released my mouse and dropped it in. At the moment ArcGIS Online is just doing a little bit of thinking about it. It's got quite a lot of data in there, as you remember. It was 10,000 or so different crime records that it has to plot and think through for me. So it's just doing a little bit of that work now. Okay, just going to get rid of this so it's not in the way. Right, okay, it's giving me a little bit of warning, says invalid characters or missing location data, but actually if I look at it you'll see it's actually got all the data, so I'm not quite sure why it said that, but it is all there. It automatically has tried to sort of map the data in a nice way, so it's already picked crime type out of all the different things it could have picked from my list of columns in my spreadsheet, and it knows the different crimes are listed here, antisocial behaviour, violent crime and so on, so it's made a nice little key for it and different colour coding. So for the moment I'm just going to say done, but in another tutorial I'll show you a little bit more about how to change and manipulate the data and get more out of the data. So I'm going to click done here, and you'll see that it's got lots of dots here. I'm going to zoom in because it's a little bit crowded, so let's go to a particular place, Bath, and zoom into the map and see the data in a little bit more detail now. Okay, so you can see it's zoomed into a particular area. This might be where I'm doing my investigation, and if I click on a dot you'll see that it's got all the data there, the crime ID, the month that that crime was reported, and longitude, latitude and so on, and what the crime was, vehicle crime type there. As you can see, a lot of this data I don't really need. It's really just vehicle crime that I'm interested in, perhaps the month, but it's all there as you can see. If I go over this layer you'll see that there's a few different controls over there, but you can see this is the basic idea of getting your data into ArcGIS Online, and you can zoom in and have a look at it for your particular location and for purposes of your project. There are a couple of other things to consider here. If you go onto these three little dots, it gives you a few more options apart from the main options here. You can change things like the transparency and so on of the dots, but it gives you the option to save the layer, because technically we haven't save this layer, which means it's going to be fine every time I open this map when I save the map, but I won't be able to get it into other maps. So I could save the layer, and I can give the layer name, so May 2015 Avon crime data, give it a test name, but test crime. Okay, so you give it a title that is going to be useful for you to find it again and remember. That's just for this layer. You give it some tags that help you find it when you're searching for it in future. They don't matter too much, but you do have to put a tag in, and I can put some explanation of what this is. So crime data for Avon in May 2015. As I said, I had some April data in there, but that's fine. I can, if I've got folders in my account, I can put it in a folder. So I'll just put it in the test folder for the moment and create item. So what I'm doing here in doing this is actually saving it as what's called a feature service, which is a layer which means that not only can I see it in this map, but should I open another map and then want to bring the data in, I can do that. So it's quite a useful thing to set up for your layer sometimes. So it's just taking a little while to do that because a little bit of processing required to set up all the features for that in ArcGIS Online. Just while it's doing that, just remind you of what we've done so far. We've gone to the police website, we've got the data. The data's got all these different columns in, or fields as they're called in GIS. Each field has got useful information in that's helped it locate it, such as longitude, latitude, and then other information like crime type. So let's go back to this, still doing a little bit of thinking. There we go, it's done it. Okay, so it's now saved it as a layer, which is quite useful. I'll show you the power of the layer. It means if I went for search for layers, once you've got layer saved, and I'll put in crime July test, actually it was May, was it? Test. Then you can see May 2015 Avon crime test data is actually there as a layer, which I can then add, just like I can add other layers into ArcGIS Online. So if I just add it, I'll create a second version of this layer, as it were. But if I was starting a map from complete scratch, it means that I can go through this process of adding a layer in order to bring it into my map. So when I'm happy with that, I say done adding layers. Okay, and you can see I've got 2 of these layers now. I don't need 2, but just showing the principle of that. Should I have started a map from scratch, it would have brought it in, or if I had a map with other data in. The other thing to do is save the map itself. A bit confusing perhaps. The layers are one thing, the map is another. You could ignore what I just said about saving the layers if you wanted, but the map is important to save, and that contains all the different layers and all the layout and the colour schemes you use in your map and the base map and so on combined. So I'm going to call this one crime data in Bath test. I give it a couple of tags for finding it later. It doesn't matter too much what you put in, and test of crime data input to GIS and whatever, and I give the file a folder to save it in. I can just put this in my test folder and save the map. So what I'm doing here is now saving the map with all its layers in. So the layers include in this case 2 crime layers, the base map, the topographic, all the colour schemes are in it, and that means that in future I'll be able to just open that map from my contents that I showed you before. Remember the contents page there. Okay. If I just So that's the basic idea of getting data in. I'm going to show you in another tutorial a little bit more about manipulating the data, visualizing it a little bit more powerfully and using it, but that's the basic of getting the data in. Just show you one other way you can bring data into ArcGIS Online if you wish, and if you're having problems with it accepting large data sets, this might be the solution to it. If you've got several tens of thousands of data and the system I've just showed you doesn't work for it, there is another way to do it. So the other way to do it is, let's just go to a folder, test folder. So in the contents on ArcGIS Online, when you are logged in to a free or a subscription account, you've got the option to add an item from the web or computer. So you're going to add it from the computer, just the same file that you're using before. So I'm just going to go into my Documents GIS folder and find this file in, to move that, find this file in the crime folder. Where's this hiding? Better. Let's try again. There we go, crime data and ArcGIS example data. So this is the same file that I imported before, just using the drag and drop method. I'm just going to use this instead. As I said, you may not have to use this, but particularly if you've got large data sets, it might be the best way to add it. It won't have any problems coping with large data sets if you've added lots of months together, for example. So what it's done here is recognise the file. It knows that it's the crime data file. I'm just going to do another couple of tags for it. and that you need to put some tags in. It says publish this as a hosted layer. That's what we did when we were saving it within the map before, so this is going to do it for us. It recognises the different types of fields we got. There's the crime ID, the month, it knows there's a date, for example. If I scroll down here, it knows the longitude and latitude are the location fields. You can see here it's already recognised them as the places it's going to use to find where things are. If it hasn't done that, you can always select that manually, but it will do it if the words are there, so there's no need in this case. So everything's fine. All I need to do is click add item. So this is doing the same sort of process as it was doing when I was trying to save it within the map, which as I showed you before was taking a little bit of time. Here you can see a little bit more what's it's doing behind the scenes, so it's actually creating this new layer that you can add to any map, and it's doing a little bit of thinking. You can see the whirring going on here, creating service, so it's finding all those dots, all those points, and making sure it understands where they are and how to locate them on a map, creating a shape file, a point file to be able to locate those. So once that's completed, this creating service thing will finish, and there are just a couple of things I can do to modify or modify this particular layer so it's usable in different ways. So I'll just wait for this to finish up. Can vary on speed depending on your internet speed a little bit, and also I suppose how busy this server is that's doing all this work of creating a service. So just be patient while it's doing this. Let's talk through some of the things that you can control once this is completed. You can control the sharing here. Sharing allows you to either keep a layer private or share it publicly. So if you want to share the map and maybe get people who are offline to be able to view it, then that's quite a useful feature to be able to use. Under edit, when it's completed, I wonder if I can do this now. Yes, okay. I can put in various details about it, so I can explain that this was a layer of crime data and whatever. I can give it more description, data from the police website, etc. Okay, save it. And under share, will it let me share already? This is where I was saying that you can choose to share things publicly or keep them private. So it will be private to start with, but you could just tick share this with everyone, and that does mean that maps can be viewed without having to log in to view this particular data, so that can be quite useful sometimes. I tend to do that for most things, and that's the reason to keep the information public. So still wearing around. It's obviously getting a little bit slow today, but it will eventually finish, and when it has finished you will be able to press that open button and open it directly into the map in order to view the data, just as you were with the other method I showed you of dragging and dropping it into the map itself. So that's the basic idea of creating a feature service, and I think it will eventually finish. I'm not sure why it's taking quite so long, but it will eventually finish. So I think we'll leave it there on this exercise, but the principles are all there. When that's finished, you'll just be able to open it by clicking open or clicking on the map. So I'm just going to go back to introductory screen. So that's part 2 of this series of tutorials, just getting you understanding how to put data into maps using GIS. This is police data from a UK website. You can see this is very rich data, very detailed, very up to date. Make your personal investigation particularly sort of high quality and particularly relevant, so I think it's a good investigation to be conducting. In the next tutorials I'll go on to be showing you a little bit more about how to visualize the data and some of the analysis you can do using that data now that you've got it into your ArcGIS or other mapping package. There we go, I just checked, here we go, it has finished now. So I'm just going to add layer to a new map. I'll start from scratch and just show you how this is completed. So this is imported using a different system. I've now created a layer and then imported the layer, but the effect should be exactly the same. Okay. It says it can't draw it completely because there's too many data points to show at one time, but that's fine. But the data is all there. Just going to say done, and it's done the same thing of trying to work out what a nice way to show the data would be. But as you can see, you've got lots of dots, so it's quite a struggle for the computer to deal with them all. But there are different ways to visualize it, and there you go. There's the data there, and that's the layer you've just created. Okay, so that's the end of part 2, and part 3 I'll talk more about visualizing data.